Creating a weapon out of a pair of bag of holding. Welcome to my channel. I focus on tabletop role-playing games, video games, and science fiction. I'm going to read the description from the SRD and that for the 5th edition. Placing a bag of holding inside a bag of holding instantly opens a gate to the astral plane and destroys both items. The gate sucks any creature within 10 feet of where the gate opened into a random location on the astral plane. The gate then closes, and the gate is only one way and cannot be reopened. So this opens up an interesting possibility if you manage to get your hands on 2 bags of holding. Now we know a bag of holding can open up to 2 feet in diameter, and it is 4 feet long, and so on. And I talked about how you could flatten it and stretch. That was in another video. What's the largest thing you could place into it? But if you look at something like this happens to be an umbrella that's folds up quite nicely into a fairly compact shape. So the problem with the bag of holding is you can't put anything really inside it. You can't put a structure inside, but the structure outside you should be able to do. Now it's 4 foot long, so we can create a structure, little sticks on the outside, tacked to the, or glued, whatever, to the bag of holding. Don't know what it would, interesting question. What happens if you stick something through the side of a bag of holding? That's not clearly defined, but it's an interesting question. So the bag of holding is made of something, but you should be able to tack some, you could glue in some fashion, some sticks to the outside so you could force it to open up. Now they're 4 foot long, so you go, oh, well, I have one that will open up, but I don't really need it to open up fully. I only need to create a structure that I can create a holding ring, say about this big. So then all the sticks are on the outside, holding open just enough space on the inside. And I don't have anything on the inside. I just have the sticks on the outside of the bag of holding. And I have a nice little ring here, which now I can attach another stick, do the same thing. I create the bag of holding and I put the sticks on the outside. But this one, at the bottom, I have a little pole sticking out, a little piece of dowel sticking out. So this fits into the other one. Now the bags of holding haven't slid into each other. They're just separated out, but they're in a position that they could easily slide together. Now this is 8 feet long. Now actually I looked up, and a javelin is actually a little bit longer than 8 feet in a normal competition javelin. So we could argue that this is very similar to a javelin that you would have as a weapon. The only thing it's a little bit flimsy and floppy depending upon how you built it. But the total goal is you really only need to throw this thing 10 feet. You don't have to throw it very far. You actually want to throw it a little bit farther. You want to throw it as far as possible. And the idea is the first bag of holding hits, and the second bag of holding slides inside it. And as soon as that happens, any creature within 10 feet gets sucked into a random location in the astral plane. And this opens up interesting possibilities. So you go out to attack a dragon. You have some big dragon that you're trying to attack. The way the rule lawyer in me goes, oh, I have 2 bags of holding. Great. I throw this javelin. This lands close enough to the dragon, and it creates an astral gate and sucks the dragon through. Now I can raid the horde of the dragon with impunity. I can take everything. So you can do that. I mean, if you're, shall we say, an evil character, you could animate two corpses and create zombies or skeletons that carry this thing along and basically charge something with it. And the first one, when it hits, the second one slides in. Yeah, that works too. So you don't even have to throw it. You just command your undead to do that. Or if you just hire some hirelings who are not the brightest, and you say charm them or whatever, tell the one to come up and run forward and the second one to slide the bag of holding inside the other one. All of these are options to weaponize this thing. And the fact that it basically, you get rid of whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't say what level or anything. There's no saving throw for this thing as the way it's worded. This is a truly devastating effect. You annihilate the bags of holding, and everything that's there gets sucked off into a random place in the astral plane. And the gate is one way. So unless you teleport, basically you're teleporting something off into some random location in the astral plane, unless they have the plane shift or something like that, they can't come back easily. So you have to be careful about what kind of dragons you win in, because they may be able to come back. But you could attract certain very powerful creatures with this weapon. Now this goes back to the old, when I started off in Dungeons and Dragons, I'm an old, the term is grognard, I guess they apply to me. The Staff of Wizardry had what was called a final strike. That's documented in the original rules, original Dungeons and Dragons. That means if you break the staff, it would release a massive explosion that would use all the charges that were in there. So we always thought about this one, and I remember somebody actually drew up. It was an arrow where you take a staff of wizardry, and somehow you create a tiny little staff of wizardry that's like, say, the size of a toothpick, and this fits into the arrowhead of an arrow, so that when it strikes, it breaks the toothpick, which is actually a staff of wizardry. I remember seeing somebody actually drew this up and explained how it would work. And that turns into a very devastating weapon if you could put that many charges. We were saying, oh, okay, just have one charge in there. It's a staff of wizardry with only one charge, which still makes it kind of nasty. But, if you could get 10 charges, that would off most creatures at the time. So weaponizing magic items is an interesting thing to do. And there's a long tradition of this in Dungeons and Dragons. So what have you weaponized? I was just taught, this falls on the heels of the discussion of how large of something can you put in a bag of holding. And it's an interesting thing. You can do this with was it the haversack or some various other things. And portable hull, I believe, will also work. So actually, you could have a little hireling that is, you tell him, what we want you to do is the first hireling is going to come up there and hold open the bag of holding, and you've got the portable hull, and we want you to come up and jump into the bag of holding, which of course will annihilate the bag of holding and the portable hull and all the creatures, suck all the creatures off into the astral plane. So that you can do a whole bunch of terrible things with a pair of bag of holding. And so I'd like to hear what you think about this. Have you done any of these type of things? What have you weaponized? I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you for watching my video. I look forward to learning what you think about this video. Let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, press the thumbs up button. You can subscribe by clicking the link in the lower left. If you are interested, there are links to more content.